At what point is it a trend? I mean, this is like 6 or 7 in a row now. I believe, by the way, there is a very real reason for this, which I'm going to get into. Thanks for tuning in today on a Friday. I'm happy to announce I've got Alex Jones live on this channel in probably just about an hour. You can see the link on the homepage, and both on Rumble and YouTube will be live as well as locals. I want to talk about this particular individual, a trans individual who plotted several incidents, okay, you know the kind I'm talking about, at various Colorado schools and churches, now sentenced to 6 years in prison. See, we can charge people like, you know, for doing this kind of thing. See, there is charges for this kind of stuff. It's concerning to me. I think the obviously the correlating factor between everybody that does this kind of stuff is they're insane. And the reason it keeps happening is because of the media. Quite frankly, full stop. The media immortalizes these people that do these things, and this is for all of them, right? They cover them, they make them famous, they got their face all over TV, and in their deranged minds, they will be worshipped, they will be remembered forever, which is what they want. If the media didn't cover them, the media didn't show their face, the media didn't show their name, I am 100% convinced you would have less of these incidents. Obviously, the overarching thing is that these people are all insane. Now, if we get down to the recent history, I think we're at like 5 or 6 in a row of these particular events attributed to one group of people that choose to identify or that do identify as trans. This one in Colorado, obviously the Nashville one everyone knows about, the Iowa school one. I mean, it's like at least 4 out of the last 5, maybe 5 out of 5, were all people that were identifying as trans. And there's a reason for that. The media, now I obviously the ultimate blame falls with the individual who does that, right? Of course. But the media has been using more and more inflammatory language over the past, I don't know, couple of years about this particular group of people, essentially, in my opinion, gaslighting them into doing this stuff. Saying, oh, you know, Republicans want to erase you, this, that, and the other thing. When the reality is, you know, people just want to protect kids. Once you're 18, you want to take all the hormones you want. I really have nothing to say about it. Once you're 18, you want to identify as whatever, you want to do whatever, you want to use whatever pronouns you want. Hey, I hope you have the kind of day that you deserve, all right? No problem with it. What most people are concerned about is when you have kids, you know, doctors convincing parents to get kids on hormones when they're very, very young. I just saw a video yesterday of some crying kid. It was just, I don't even want to show it because it was unwatchable. This particular group is being used by the media to stoke fear. And in my opinion, they want this kind of stuff to happen. In my opinion. Okay, I can't prove that, obviously. I'm not saying it's true. But here we have yet another trans teenager, this time arrested and put into prison for 6 years. After issuing, obviously, having threats to carry out those type of events that you know I'm talking about at various at schools and a church in Colorado. Of course, they were charged back in April of 2023, and officers uncovered a manifesto, which, of course, we don't have because, of course, you know, that's the way it works. If you're trans, your manifesto never gets to see the light of day. Now, William Wentworth, who uses she/her pronouns, also goes by the name Lily or Lily, was first arrested on March 31st of last year after a concerned family member called the sheriff's office. Police visited Whitworth's address after his sister called and informed police that he was punching walls and making references to doing one of those events. One of the texts Whitworth sent his sister said, "How clear do I have to make it? I'm going to walk into Timberview Middle School with an AR." Police quickly arrived at Wentworth's home and found him living in squalor. Deputy notes revealed that there were numerous containers filled with moldy, half-eaten food, numerous alcoholic beverage containers laying around the house. There was also trash piled up all around the house to the point where it made it hard to walk inside. Upon searching the home, police discovered a manifesto, which included the names of several other losers that did the same thing, as well as additional drawings and floor plans of schools. There were also photos describing makeshift things that go boom, detonation devices. While speaking with police, Whitworth said he had gone on YouTube to learn how to make a detonator. Contained within his notebook was also a list of various weapons, 3D printing instructions, and a list of political personalities, including commentator Lauren Southern and former U.S. President Donald Trump with derogatory comments. Investigators determined that there were 3 schools Whitworth had intended to target. He previously attended Timberview Middle School. There were also names of other targets, including local churches and police stations. Once arrested, Whitworth confessed to his plan and told deputies he watched a YouTube video on how to make a detonator. When asked why he intended to target his previous middle school, he said he had no specific reason. Initially, Whitworth was booked and held on $75,000 bond, but while in jail, Whitworth reportedly told a prison official that he still wanted to carry out his plans if he got bonded out. As a result, his bond was increased to $750,000 in order to make it more difficult for him to leave pretrial detention. In the press release detailing the plea agreement from the Office of the 18th Judicial District Attorney, Whitworth was referred to as using they-them pronouns. Whitworth accepted a plea deal, but could still face up to 16 years in prison. During his sentencing at Elbert County Courthouse on January 30, he barely spoke, but told the court, "I was in too deep, way too deep. The choices I've made, I regret." His lawyers sought non-custodial sentencing, asking Judge Teresa Slade to only give Whitworth probation so he could attend rehab for alcohol dependency. They argued sending him to jail would be harmful to his recovery. That's what jail's supposed to do. Anyway, well, I suppose it's supposed to be a deterrent, really. And overall mental health, the judge delayed sentencing to give the defense an opportunity to build their case for a probation-only sentence. But despite the time extension, the judge ultimately disagreed, sentencing Whitworth to 6 years in prison. And that's what they deserve. And they're lucky that's all it was. The term is still considerably less than the max of 16 years that he could have received. Judge Slade decided that a prison sentence was the only way to ensure a sense of security among the community, of which I agree. Tell that to New York. The prison sentence will be followed by 3 years of mandatory parole. He was charged under his birth name, William. However, documents from the sheriff's office refer to him as Lily and use their preferred pronouns. District Attorney John Keller acknowledged the courage it took for Whitworth's family members to come forward and report the disconcerting behavior to authorities. I agree. Shout out. More people see something, say something. You know, Whitworth's sister, who reported him to police, told the media, "We are also victims in this case against Lily and struggling to come to terms with what has happened and what we will do to protect the public." Christopher Whitworth, the teen's father, urged the court earlier this month to release him on probation. "I know Lily is capable of some amazing things if just given the chance," he pleaded with the court. He's going to have a chance in 6 years when they're out of prison. Now, Colorado is set to become the first state to provide trans-identified males with their own separate unit, as opposed to housing them in male or female prison. You want to know what I think is funny? There are 170 trans-identified males in Colorado Department of Corrections. 170? Watson writes, "What a vulnerable minority." There's 170 in prison alone. Is it possible that maybe some of them are just saying this for preferential treatment? Is it possible? 170 trans-identified males launched a class action lawsuit in 2019 after claiming they had not been protected in male prisons or provided gender-affirming treatment in prison. In prison. You're not supposed to get that in prison. You know what prison's supposed to be? Prison. It's supposed to be a 10 by 10 cell with bars on it that you sit in and you think about every single day about how you screwed up and got there. That's what it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be a place where you get gender-affirming care. I don't even understand. I don't understand. You see these other comments. I wonder if these men that commit these crimes every year ever go to male prison. That's it. 6 years is too little. Yeah, I'd say that, you kind of get into that area of thought crimes, so to speak. But I don't think our legal system really has a tool to deal with this anymore. I mean, if there were asylums where people could get sentenced to, I mean, I suppose there are still things like the 5150, mandatory this, kind of that, another thing. I think prison is going to fix this person's mental issues? Sadly, I do not. I think they will probably come out even more hardened and more determined to be a garbage human. But I don't know what else you do. I mean, remember the Nashville situation in the tiny bit of the Tranifesto that they released? Remember the line in there that said, "Remember the time I almost got caught last summer," or something like that? What was that? Did the law enforcement speak to them? Did somebody figure out their plan? If somebody, maybe that person had been, if they were in jail, it would have saved all those lives. Maybe in Iowa, again, there seems to be a common thread, at least lately, but there also seems to be a common thread of these people are all known to local law enforcement and nothing was done. You see, Donald Trump Jr. writes, per capita, is there a more dangerous group of people anywhere in the world than trans activists? Given the tiny fraction of the population that they make up, it doesn't seem that anyone else even comes close. You see this tweet, Colorado Springs. Now we know non-binary, Nashville, trans, Aberdeen, trans, Denver, trans, Iowa, trans. It's a lot. I'm just saying. And I do think it's a direct result of already being in a vulnerable state, but also having the media whipping you up into a frenzy and creating martyrs out of these people. They won't stop because they continue to want ratings. At least that's my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.